Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos with a Steinway L built in New York City in 1926. It's a piano that's had some reconditioning in the past. It was refinished in a satin ebony finish, and all the hardware was polished. And a technician, replaced all the action parts with new Renner parts, new at the time. It might have been about 10 or 20 years ago. Renner parts from Germany, which is what Steinway will use on their in their Hamburg factory. They make the same pianos in New York and Hamburg, Germany. Same models, although curiously not the Model L, but Renner has the patterns for this model. It's no problem getting those parts. And Renner parts are amongst the finest hammers that you can find for pianos in the world, in my opinion. And it's actually the whole action, so hammers, shanks, flanges, and the whippets. So the whole action's been replaced on this piano. But remarkably, the strings and tuning pins appear to be original and are in very clean condition. And the tuning pins are tight. It's quite, in my opinion, remarkable how well a piano has survived. This piano has survived with its original strings and tuning pins, and you'd be hard-pressed to find any tarnish on the strings either. It's just really clean on the inside, and I think it's a testament to the quality with which Steinway manufactures their pianos, and has done so for over 100 years now, like 160 years. And it's also a testament to how proper humidity control and consistent moderate humidity is crucial for making sure a piano remains in good condition in the long term. You can play it as much as you want. That won't really affect the strings and the tuning pins unless you play it really hard. What's really crucial is making sure that you have a piano technician come out at least twice a year to tune the piano and service it, and that you make sure the humidity in the environment of the piano remains moderate and stable. You don't want it changing from extremes of humidity, because that will definitely take a toll on the wooden parts of the piano. And if it gets too humid, that will rust the strings too. So that was not the case here. This piano remarkably has survived with its strings in really good condition. I would describe the tone of this piano as it's on the bright side for sure, and that, in my opinion, is very consistent with what we would expect from Renner parts from Germany. Renner in Germany, along with their competitor Abel, tends to make hammers with felt that's a bit more dense and compacted and harder, which produces a brighter sound, which is more, I suppose, more the taste in Europe and Asia, where Hamburg Steinways tend to be marketed. And other European-made pianos, if they're sold in Europe, they'll have Renner hammers for sure. In America, we tend to have softer hammers on American-made pianos, including Steinway's own pianos in New York, but the mellower sound that produces isn't always to everyone's taste. So if you like the signature Steinway sound, but you want a brighter version of it, I think you'll be quite pleased with this piano. Before I go on, I should mention that this is a Model L, so it is 5 foot 10.5 long. But if you were to look at Steinway's website today, or go to any dealer, you'll find that their 5 foot 10 model is called a Model L. They're the same size. They're very similar in design. But in New York, starting in 1923, Steinway replaced the Model L, which they had been making previously since 1900. They replaced it with the Model L, which, although the same size, does have a different shape in the back. It has more of a squared-off tail versus just a completely round tail, and the O, very similar to a Model M, which is smaller. This squared-off tail in an L looks more like a Model A or B Steinway. It increases the soundboard area slightly, And I usually find Model Ls tend to have a bit more of a bolder, more brilliant sound as a result, whereas Model Os tend to be darker and more intimate sounding. So if you prefer that bolder, more brilliant sound, not only do you have the bright hammers on this piano, you got that deeper, bigger sound. I didn't play so much of the bass, but we can listen here. And that really sounds like a much bigger piano than it is. And it's amazing, again, that piano strings, bass strings from 1926 sound as good as they do. It's right to touch of the piano. I think it's distinctly firm, and for me to be fair, I think it's firmer than the average firm touch that we find around here in our showroom. 5 would be neutral on the scale from 1 to 10, and 6 is just a little firm. This is firmer than that, so I'm going to call it a 7 on a scale from 1 to 10, from light to firm. It's distinctly firm. Reminds me of some of the newer Steinways I've played, made in New York since the 1980s. They, in my opinion, tend to have a harder touch, and this reminds me a lot of that. So if you're a really forceful player, I think you'll feel quite at home on this piano. And as a courtesy to anyone who purchases a Steinway from us, we'll be including an artist bench. This is not the only bench we have available, but this has been reupholstered. It's very heavy, and we have a selection of other benches. If you prefer, we can give you a new artist bench right out of the box, but it won't be quite as strong as this. I encourage you to take this one. So, please stop by, try it out for yourself. You're welcome to play it along with anything else in our inventory. But if you can't make it, you can always give us a phone call or send us an email if you have any questions. Thanks.